I'm live. Check, check. I hope this is working. Try this again. What's up, everyone? If you got a chance to check out the other videos that I've started doing on my YouTube channel, thank you for doing that. If you forgot, please hit subscribe, share it with a friend if it's important for you. If you got something out of it, chances are somebody else will too. So I wanted to come back on here today with my Expos hat. If anyone can name the city, give you 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. If you can even name what this logo is, give you lots of credit. Got a simulcast over here. It's the Montreal Expos, and that's an M. And it took me about 38 years to understand that. Even though I had the hat, I love the team. I played baseball for 16 years of my life. I love the hat, and I didn't realize it was an M until a couple years ago. Cool side story. I promise we'll get into some stuff on movement today. But side story on it's the Montreal Expos, which is short for the Montreal Expositions, which is an amazing mascot. It's a mascot that's named after a display, named after a very non-threatening invitation to people to come and check out your city. No tigers, no thunder, no, just an exposition. For when Montreal had the world's exposition, I think. Anyway, pour one out for the Expos. They moved to the Washington, D.C. area, became the Nationals. And I know people back in Montreal and Quebec really love that team. I was sad to see them go. But the venue was horrible. It was a concrete bunker. So the venue matters. Space matters. Anyone who has their favorite restaurant or cafe or music venue know that space matters. So Montreal Expos, a little trivia. Shout out my friends in Montreal. My good friend, big Expos fan. So 2 minutes in. Today I wanna talk about what I do in the morning and the evening as a little practice. And I've been doing a lot of different things for a long time, just constantly experimenting. But the thing I've landed on recently and has given me a lot of joy and a lot of benefit is this. I squirm in the morning and I stretch in the evening. And I'll break that down, but I'll just say it again because I like the alliteration. I squirm in the morning and I stretch in the evening. And I used to do various things in terms of juicing up the joints, different Qigong breath practices, meditation, stillness, going outside for a walk. Used to stretch in the morning. And what I've landed on, partly because of time, which is always a constraint for everyone, and just like when I get out of bed, what's the first thing that feels accessible? What's the thing that feels most accessible? And what I found is when I get out of bed, I usually want to be back in bed. So I just replicate being back in bed, but on the ground. So I go to the ground and I squirm. Just kind of like this. Everyone knows and can feel what squirming is. And usually it's associated kind of in a negative sense. You're squirming when you're not comfortable. You're not at ease in your own skin. But what if we flip that? And there's a beautiful benefit to squirming, because what we are doing when we are squirming and there's not a negative or anxious or fearful emotion attached to that feeling is we're finding internal space. When we are squirming, we're literally rubbing up against the insides of ourselves and rubbing up against the external world looking for space. And what better thing to do in the morning than find internal space and practice rubbing up against the world, which is what we're going to be doing after we get out of bed for the next 16 hours till we go back to bed. So squirming to me has no agenda. It's not ambitious. It has no counting or quantitative element to it. And I just squirm. Sometimes that looks like rolling on the ground. Sometimes that looks like circling my joints. Sometimes it looks like elongating my limbs. Sometimes it looks like finding space in my throat and my voice. It's a very low bar. That's what I like about it. I don't need a lot of energy to squirm. And there's nothing linear or sagittal about squirming. It's very 360 degrees, which is circular. We are made of curves. There's no straight lines on our body. So when we squirm, we really honor how our anatomy is already made. The other nice thing about when we squirm is that we are hydrating our fascia. We are helping to squeeze out the towel, bring some hydration, some liquefaction to our joints. So a joint is where two bones or three bones come together. That's the definition of a joint. And when we juice that joint, kind of like if you make an orange juice, we are releasing the synovial fluid. The synovial fluid is what lubricates the joint so it can move. So when we squirm, when I squirm, and when you squirm, when we squirm, we help to release that synovial fluid so that the joint is a little more liquefied. And when it's more liquefied, it can move with greater ease. That means maybe a little less pain. For those of you with arthritis, or the other camp of you who don't want to have arthritis, this is a beautiful way to support your bone health, joint health, releasing the synovial fluid without overextending the body, because you just woke up. Your body's getting online. The systems are waking up. Maybe some systems are still buffering. So when you squirm, it's a way to bring movement that is safe and gentle to the body. Anything else on that? Yeah, it's global. That's the other thing I love about the word. It's like when I think squirm, it's like a worm. Yeah, the rhymes. Squirm worm. Meaning your whole body is integrated. So even if you're just juicing up your neck or your wrist, the tone in the body is global, which means your ankles are also softening into that multi-dimension global circular movement. So you can't just like squirm one part of the body and the other part's holding. It's not the spirit of squirming. And the other thing is when you're low to the ground, you're not gonna fall. You're not gonna bang anything. You're not gonna hurt yourself, because nothing's worse than getting out of bed and then hurting yourself to start the day. So I put a timer sometimes for 11 minutes and 11 seconds. I'm gonna make another video about 11:11 and a little game I have with my friend and what that number means. So stay tuned for that, a little teaser. But I put my timer on for 11:11 and I squirm. And I don't know what will happen. I just know that that's my time to not be ambitious, to follow. If something feels good, I stay in it and I squirm inside of it. If it doesn't feel good, I do something else. If it feels nice, I repeat it. I stay in it. I follow that. And it works. It works because I keep doing it. That's the feedback. My body likes it. So I get out of bed. I'm like, now I get to squirm. So repatterning, reconditioning, repurposing that word from a negative thing into a really beneficial, positive thing to start your day. Now, on the other side of that, squirm in the morning, stretch in the evening. In another video, I want to talk about a Qigong and Chinese medicine proverb. I won't say it yet. Maybe I'll say it at the end of the video if I remember. That has to do with morning, noon, and night. But in this video, at night, I like to stretch. And growing up playing a lot of sports, my favorite wide receiver in American football was Jerry Rice, played for the San Francisco 49ers. And sorry, Seahawks fan. I was a 49ers fan before I was a Seahawks fan, even though I grew up in Seattle. So Jerry Rice is considered the best wide receiver of all time. And I saw him interviewed one time towards the end of his career, and they asked how he had such longevity. And he said every night, without fail, every night, he stretched. So I was like, well, if it works for that guy, works for me. So at night, I stretch, and I stretch with some of the same intentions of the squirming, which is I'm not trying to see how far I can stretch. I'm not trying to touch my toes or get some distance. I'm just allowing my body to settle, to elongate inside the release, to surrender the energy of the day. So stretching to me is not just the soft tissue, the fascia, the muscles. I'm not thinking as much about stretching that as I am releasing the day, releasing the emotional buildup of the day, releasing the thoughts that get stuck, that accumulate during the day in the head, releasing them into the body, letting them stretch and let go. It's also a nice way to slow down the nervous system, to down regulate the heartbeat, the breath. So when I stretch, it's not this ambitious thing that creates tension and goals and failure if I don't do it right. It's like, no, I just find positions that feel nice and I settle into them and I keep breathing into them. And I think about the body stretching not just in 2 dimensions, but in 3 dimensions. And if I add my breath and time, it's 4 dimensions. It's a little less yang than the squirming. The squirming is like warming up the yang, and the stretching is really dropping into the yin, the softness, the release. It's a way to also soften my senses. So often in the morning when I'm squirming, I'm opening my eyes. I'm looking for the light. Sometimes if I can find the sun, I like to squirm and play with the sun. In the evening, maybe there's a moon. Not maybe, there is a moon. Maybe I can see the moon. So can I stretch with that energy, with that decompression, with that regrounding? Stretching is preparing to sleep. It's preparing the body for surrender, for a little death. And squirming is awakening the body to dance, to be in bloom, to be, shout out Nirvana, to be awake and engaged. And the stretching is coming back to me. So try that out. Squirming in the morning, stretching in the evening. Sometimes I also put on the 11:11 timer in the evening and just stretch. Maybe I do 1 stretch for 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Or maybe I do 11 stretches. I don't count. I don't care. Every day is a slightly different stretch. I ask my body, how do you want to stretch? And together we stretch. We go through that journey. It's a juicy, lovely way to be compassionate with ourselves. I think we use those words a lot. Be compassionate with yourself. And sometimes like, how? Well, one way is to, okay, what do we need right now? And in the evening, I need to surrender the day. I need to let go of the day. In the morning, I need to meet the day. So squirm in the morning, stretch in the evening. There's a million ways to engage with our body. And these are 2 options. They're options I love, options I use, and I continue using them. So I will continue preaching them. Please share your experience. Got choked up. Share your experience in the comments. Please subscribe. Please share this video. If you think it's interesting, share it. Even if you don't, maybe someone else will share it. And check out the online offerings, classes, workshops, programs, one-on-one sessions I teach down in the description on my website, www.eliamarak.com. Have a lovely day. Shout out Montreal. Peace.